on. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me now? Much better. That's great. I hope everyone has their coffee and is ready for what's going to be a really fantastic, action-packed, content-packed day. Let me start by welcoming you all here in person in Washington. Also on behalf of our co-chair Condoleezza Rice, who couldn't be with us today. She's traveling in the Middle East. And Joe Nye, who is here, who you'll hear from in a minute. I want to start by thanking our media partners, NBC News, and also the Financial Times, and our sponsors, without whom this would not be possible: Google, MasterCard, McKinsey, Microsoft, Red Cell, the Rockefeller Foundation, and transportation provided by American Airlines, which is very helpful. Thank you very much to all of the speakers and moderators and all of our Aspen Strategy Group members who are with us today. I've got to tell you, we also couldn't do this without the help of the whole Aspen Institute, which has been enormously helpful. Too many teams to mention, but Elliot Gerson, who's here, Dan Porterfield, legal, comms, the policy programs, everyone. John Purvis and your amazing press team is always enormously helpful getting members of the press to participate in these events. And most of all, our mighty team here at the Aspen Security Forum, who always put in such an enormous effort to organize the events. They look seamless on the surface because there's a lot of work going on in the background. So Neve, Leah, Deb, Emily, Anna, Georgie, Chris, and Lupita. Round of applause for you. Thank you. Well, what a year it's been since we were last together here in Washington, D.C., and for some of us also in Aspen this summer a few months ago. The tectonic plates of the international system are really shifting in a way that I think is as profound as the end of the Cold War and 9/11. Here's what's shifted just in this past year since we were last together. In February, Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine launched the first truly large-scale war on European territory since World War II. It upended the system in very dramatically negative ways, but also in some positive ways. The US and Europe are united as never before. Republicans and Democrats in Congress are united mostly on this issue. And the US business and government all got together to do the right thing very quickly. It's pretty impressive. And together we've tried something that's really unprecedented. We're extracting the world's 7th largest economy, Russia, from the international economy. Putin's aggression upended German pacifism and Swiss neutrality. It's close to bringing 2 new members into NATO and showed us all just how important the NATO frontline states are to European security. And we're going to hear about all of that today. We have with us both Foreign Minister of Sweden, Billström, and Foreign Minister of Finland, Haavisto, here to discuss their country's potential accession to NATO. And we have German Minister of State Lindner to discuss his country's massive increase in defense spending and the tougher line on foreign policy. And I want to say a special welcome to Polish Foreign Minister Rau, who's with us right now, who will report really from the front line of the conflict and all of the amazing work that Poland has done, both to get the military material into Ukraine where it's needed and hosting so many Ukrainian refugees. We had a very honest, blunt conversation with the Prime Minister of Lithuania last night, who also sees this conflict in stark terms. China has also been active, and unfortunately, President Xi has seemingly bought into, mistakenly, in my view, into the narrative of Western decline. You'll remember that during the Beijing Olympics, President Xi announced his no-limits friendship with Vladimir Putin. Maybe he's regretting that now. The 20th Party Congress not only gave him an additional term as leader, but doubled down on the Chinese policies of prioritizing national security and political control over economic growth. On Taiwan, the situation is getting more dangerous with Chinese military exercises. And I'm reminded of what Chinese Ambassador Qin told us when he was with us this summer. He thinks, and the Chinese think, that the root cause of tensions over Taiwan is that the United States is hollowing out the one China policy. Well, we'll hear about that first with Kurt Campbell, who's going to give us a front row view into President Biden's recent meeting with Xi and everything else happening on the Indo-Pacific front. We are also joined by distinguished officials from Australia and the UK to talk about everything that's happening in the Pacific. In the meantime, the political systems in the world are churning. Populism isn't dead, but elections are swinging back and forth. You had an optimistic win of Lula in Brazil recently, and you had a peaceful transition of power and a great election in Kenya. And we have here the Kenyan Supreme Court, Chief of the Kenyan Supreme Court, Martha Koome, to discuss that with us. The Middle East continues to surprise and engage us, and we have a first-rate panel for you to interpret for us Netanyahu's surprise election in Israel, the continued development of the Abraham Accords, a real sea change in the region, and all of those courageous protests in Iran. With so much happening, the tendency is to look just right in front of us, how to support Ukraine and end that war, how to parsing the latest statements out of Beijing. But our goal here at the Aspen Security Forum is a little bit different. It's to lift our sights higher and to anticipate and prepare for the more dramatic shifts that are coming that are going to eventually impact us all. That's why we're bringing you so much content that looks at the more distant future. Arati Pragapkar, who runs the White House Office of Science and Technology, Senators Todd Young and Mark Warner will be here. We'll hear from Kent Walker on Zoe Beard, all of these on different aspects of the innovation ecosystem and what it's going to take to keep the United States competitive in future. We're also going to hear from Deputy Energy Secretary Turk and from Kath Hicks, our Deputy Secretary of Defense, who has done more really than anyone else at the Pentagon to push through innovative technologies and think about the threats of the future. We continue to focus on both technology and innovation here at the Aspen Security Forum for the following reason. In the 20th century, it was possible to predict both the threats and the rough trajectory of technologies several decades out. Now you can't predict either, nor do we know how technology may complicate future conflicts. So we must be much more flexible and creative in our thinking. I'm going to leave you with just one example. Like pretty much everyone in Washington, D.C., since that Axios article came out about the OpenAI chatbot, I have been playing with it. And last night, I gave this piece of artificial intelligence just the following prompt. Write a poem about the US, China, and Russia and avoiding great power conflict. Here's what it came up with. This is an AI, not a human, only slightly edited by me. China, with its ancient culture and vast lands, seeks to achieve its people's demands. The US, building on its dreams and ambition, strives to fulfill its founding vision. And Russia, land of ice and snow, has a storied past and a leader who has brought its public low. These three great powers, each with its own might, seem like giants locked in an endless fight. But deep down, their people have a common desire for peace to reign and conflicts to expire. Go robot. So if a chatbot can write a poem about promoting peace, we can certainly lift our sights to help solve the conflicts of today and avoid those of the future. Thank you all for being here. I now want to welcome Joe Nye.